Hi guys, this is Tomek, online known as TinyGuy, from his Trigger, and this is game 3 of the series of me playing against Lemur. I'm on Prism, he's on Viserai. We're 1-1. Game 1 I lost, game 2 I won, and this is game 3. We'll see which one of us takes the best of 3. I think Lemur will be starting since I won the previous round. We'll see how it goes here. So we draw our first hand. Not exactly perfect from what I can see. It's okay for blocking. I can block 5 and then build myself a soul shield. So it's not particularly bad. Most of the players also are aware to finish with the action point remaining at the end of their turn to destroy any potential auras. So we'll see what Lemur decides to do. My guess would be probably make a rune chant, make as many rune chants as he can, and then Arsenal pass. We'll see what he does here. I'm also keeping in mind that I have a ALS, meaning Arclight Sentinel. So if I'm able to play it after he uses his turn, that's fine. Okay, so he pitches for a rune chant, and just probably passes here, as I imagine. Yep, he's saying he's passing priority, arsenaling. So that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with keeping this hand. I decided to go for a Herald play instead of a ALS play. If he has a breaker, so be it. I can still play with the ALS and put a haze bending onto the board, since early Arclight Sentinel doesn't do much. It's mainly for the late game, so I'm more than happy to pitch for it now to draw it later on. And if not, I will be able to arsenal it and put a headbanding on the board. He's thinking a lot, so that makes me think that he doesn't have a breaker, and he's deciding if he wants to block all of the damage or just take it or use equipment. It's pretty bad, I think, to use equipment this early on, especially against Prism, which you need for the eruditions. So you need to have 2 block on your equipment at all time and count the eruditions. Oftentimes just pitching them, and when they come up, they come up. If I had to say, I'm pitching them more often than I'm playing them, since most of my opponents are aware of the threat of the erudition, so they just keep their equipment intact, and it doesn't really matter. So I draw another ALS. So this is the first point. I want you to remember that ALS that I put into my arsenal, because if I remember correctly, this will be really important for the whole match. So he's playing Mordred Tide, and this is the point where I need to decide if I want to play my ALS or no. Because if I don't play my ALS now, I'm risking him having like a Gloom Veil, Swarming Gloom Veil or something like that, or a Rune Flash just paying for it. So basically attack with a native go again, or just playing an attack and then using boots to play an attack to continue his turn, which is also a pretty good play. So I'm considering if I want to play my ALS here, because it stops his Mordred Tide turn. But on the other hand, I'm seeing I have a yellow card with a swing for 7, swing for 5, and a possible aura onto the board, which is also pretty nice. And as well, if I can maintain my whole hand, I can just play the... that's the second thing I'm thinking about. I can just pitch the Sentinel and swing with the Metamorph for 7, because I'm assuming the aura will be popping on my turn, so I can swing with the Metamorph, pitching with the LS, and then pitch my 2 remaining cards to play my LS from the arsenal, which would be in response to Metamorph breaking, which would be pretty substantial because I would have 2 Arclight Sentinels on the board, so that's basically 2 time walks for me. And I think that's a game-winning position. unless I don't draw any auras and he just can block with his hand. But Prism is a deck that can prevent your opponent from cycling their cards from their hand if you just play auras and pass, which is oftentimes good to do, especially on first turns. So I'm thinking if I want to play one of my LSs here, the reason also being I can just pitch two of my cards, play the ALS, uh, and possibly just swing with the Metamorph next turn, which would be also pretty good. I'm maintaining my haste bending, and I'm creating a Spectral Shield from the ALS popping. So that would be also a good line. We'll see what I do ultimately. Oh, there we go. I decided not to play my ALS onto the Mordred, and he plays his Forming Gloomveil. So at this point, so I'm deciding to play my LS and just thinking if I want to block the whole turn or preserve my whole hand and just attack my opponent with it. We'll see what I end up with here. I decided not to block it, just take it. I'm at 40 HP. I'm pretty okay with taking the damage. Unfortunately, he has a second Gloomveil, which is a lot of damage. So that's 6 damage more coming in. And since I committed to not blocking it, I probably won't be blocking anything else as well. Yep, I take the full 6 down to 29. I'm assuming there will be Rosetta coming into my haze bending, which why I was fine with just letting it hit. The worst case scenario, here's a third Swarming Gloomveil, so be it. What are the odds? I mean, we can calculate them, but it's pretty unlikely that he has a third Swarming Gloomveil. Way more Dread turn. We'll see what he does after that. He's thinking really hard. Oh, I think there was slight miscommunication on our part. I will skip a second. Yeah, there we go. He took back his rune chance. And then thinking what he would do, he just pitched and destroyed my haze bending, as I mentioned, with preserving the rune chance. I'm pretty happy to see the CNC go, so I know he doesn't have a breaker. I take out my tunic, and there we go. That's the play I was mentioning. So I'm playing my Herald, and then waiting. If he breaks it, it's fine. I will play my LS and be happy with it. But oftentimes he just takes it because it's early in the game and it's fine to take that damage. As I mentioned, it's 7 unblockable damage most of the time. Swing with Spectral Shield. And here I have another decision, because he won't be popping this because it's not wise to pop it. So I can either just play my aura and just finish my turn, or I can try to push more damage with the other Herald. And if he doesn't have a breaker, I can play my aura, and if not, I'm left with a blue card in hand, which is also good because I have a ALS in my arsenal. So I play my Watching Herald for 5 with Go Again, trying to build up my soul more. We'll see what happens here. As well as I know that one of the CNCs was gone, so I was more comfortable with playing it, because that's one less breaker. He still has 5 more, right? 6, even more, because 3 reclamations, 3 amplifies, and 3 CNCs in his case. So yeah, so that would be more. We'll see what he decides to do here. I would be happy to have a tunic here because it would allow me to play the aura either way. So I would be more comfortable with play. There we go. That's the breaker, one of the 9 breakers. I'm thinking if I need to do anything else, probably no. So just close the chain, it's fine. Leave the blue card in hand, which is not terrible. I'm not progressing my my board state. And I see a 4 blue hand, and I'm thinking, yep, that's ALS turn, and he just begins uh, with a rune flash. So I'm deciding, yep, that's a block turn. If I'm not doing stuff, I'm just blocking probably the whole turn and putting an aura into play on my turn. So block the arcane and block 4 exactly, preserve my spectral shield. We'll see what he will do. There was no non-attacks, so the Rosetta would be coming for 2, which I'm fine with. If he breaks the chain with the gloves, I get 1 more block on my boots, which is also fine. We'll see what he decides to do. So I think it would be just a rune chant with Rosetta, depending on what he has in arsenal in hand. If he has another go again attack, that would be fine. I'm guessing he has no non-attacks, because otherwise he would play it before the rune flash, and I'm assuming it's a red card in the hand as well. Let's see, if it was a blue, it would be better to play it the other way around. Okay, so he breaks the chain. Yep, there we go. Red card, Swarming Gloomveil. And now I'm counting what I'm able to do here. If I'm able to preserve my Spectral Shield, as well as block all of the damage, and keeping my blue aura in hand, so I'm able to play it on my turn. But ultimately, I could have done it. No, I couldn't, because, yep, that's the last thing I checked. I could have, if I was lower HP than him, I could have pitched, prevented the arcane, blocked with the skull cap and the boots, and probably made a spectral shield, just so the float doesn't get wasted, and then play the aura on my turn, which would be fine, especially since he will be having a 5-card hand, and I have ALS, so that will be okay. I decided to forgo the Spectral Shield and just block 3. Not thinking too much. I wasted 1 block, I didn't manage to get more value off of my boots this turn, but it's okay. I see my hand, it's pretty good. Metamorph with a yellow card and a Blora is always fine, because you will always parlay your Blora, and you will push some damage with the Metamorph. So I'm always happy to see those hands. I'm even more happy to see those hands instead of hands with a Fortune and a yellow and a blue aura, because the Metamorph always pushes damage. Nobody blocks the Metamorphs, and if they block, that's also fine. They waste cards on a card that doesn't do anything on a hit, so just blocking raw damage, which I'm happy with. If I can take cards from my opponent's hand and they draw into auras, it's perfectly fine for me. So he began with a Garganian Tome. This was the first point of me thinking if I want to play my Sentinel, but I decided not to, probably for the better. I have now Tunic, so I can pitch a blue card, a yellow card, a Tunic, to be able to play my Sentinel. I'm able to pitch a blue, yellow, yellow, have 1 floating, and then play Metamorph off of my Tunic. But once again, he decides to just go with the Rune Flash, so a card with native go again. If he played a Movrion Skies, I would probably play my ALS. That would be my guess. But since I have a pretty good hand, I can even Tunic, Pitch Blue, play Genesis, then put Herald into my soul, draw card, create a Spectral, and then play the Metamorph of anything I draw into. But he decides to play Runic Reclamation, which I need to block, because it's devastating otherwise. So I'm thinking of what I want to do here. counting my blocks, my damages. I have ALS still in Arsenal. Please keep that in mind. It will be really important later on. I'm basically having my Arsenal blocked from the beginning of the game. So turn 1 I Arsenal my ALS and it's still sitting there. I only one time wasted one card in my hand, which is fine. Wasted. I just didn't manage to play it. But it was a blue card, blue aura, which is fine to keep. Uh, exactly because of that I have the LS in my arsenal. So I'm thinking what to do here. I probably will take the arcane damage. I'm thinking if I can manage to sneak some aura in and then have one additional card, but probably not. I'm deciding if I want to skull cap and just keep my Genesis in hand. I can either block with my Erudition, my Metamorph, and my skull cap. So if not for the Reclamation, I would have probably taken any damage that was coming into me, whether it would be like Revel into Rosetta, which would be a lot of damage, sure, but I'm able to establish my board as well. So we'll see what happens here. Yep, so skull cap and block 6, yep. And that's also part of the reason of why I blocked like this is probably because I have a passing mirage in hand. And it would take away the phantasm from my metamorph, which I don't want to do. Believe me or not, because I like to have my metamorphs broken. It's the best feeling when you get when you get your auras copied, especially like a really any aura. The worst one is passing mirage, of course, because they don't stack. Any others do stack, but if I copy passing mirage, I basically have 3 heralds till the end of the game, because passing mirage is the least prioritized aura, I think, as it doesn't really influence the game that much if players don't have a lot of breakers. And if I have 2 of them on the board and other auras which are more intimidating, like Haze Banning, Shimmers, Pierce. I'm not playing Pierce in this specific matchup, but if I would, then Pierce or Genesis or basically any other aura, I'm pretty good with that as well. We'll see what Lemur decides to do here. I just played my Haze Bending. I should have probably pitched my Genesis to block some arcane damage before, but I didn't know the 7 attack was coming in. I should have probably pitched it to block the arcane that was coming with it as well, just to unclog my hand a little bit. But it's a sure yellow card, which is also not bad. It doesn't block, sure, but I can still pitch for boots and for arcane damage. So I have stuff to do with leftover pitch, especially in this matchup. We'll see what Lemur decides to do here. Let's take a quick look at my hand. I have 2 Red Fortunes, a Judgment and Genesis, and a ALS in Arsenal still, so I won't be playing my ALS this turn. Probably not. There's a slight possibility to pitch 2 yellows, a Fortune and Tunic, and then Arsenal the other Fortune, which is fine. I'm also considering, depending on his turn, blocking with Judgment Fortune, pitching Genesis, and then playing Fortune of Tunic, because my guess is that the passing mirage will stay in the play, since Haze Bending is also on the board as well, and that's a much higher priority card. I'm also expecting to just take all of the damage, if it's not a lot, to swing back with 2 war tunes, or I'm expecting to block with one of the war tunes, swing with war tune for 7, Tunic, Herald for 6, Judgment for 6. With the first one for sure not being popped as of the because of the passing mirage. We'll see what happens from here. Lemur is taking quite a while to get his line, but there we go. So that's a off of the Arc Knight, pitching red triptych, and a E-Strike from Arsenal. Okay, so the off won't be triggering on the E-Strike, but it's raw damage, so I take the 2, take the 5. It was for 7 even. Okay, so he just wants to push more damage, use boots, play Revel, my favorite card, create 5 rune chance, and then pop his armor, and then swing for 5. 5 to 3 because of the Arc Knight getting +1 onto the Rosetta Thorn. So my plan of keeping my whole hand is basically out of the window. That's too much damage. I mean, I could, but it's not advised. It also tells me that I will be maintaining my both auras this turn, so that's also something to consider. On the I think I should have there we go. That's the point that I also wanted to mention. When the Revel was played, let me see there, he activated his boots for his last resource and then played Revel. So at this point I should have probably played my Sentinel. It was a good idea to play the Sentinel now, because it basically blocked 5 plus 2 plus 3. So it blocked 10 damage. Pitching 3 cards, blocking 10 damage. And then on my turn, I'm also able to arsenal my war tune. So that was a good point to play my Sentinel. Even a better point would be to allow him to create that, and in response of him popping the chest, I should have played the Sentinel here. Because of the Revel being played, all of the rune chants will be destroyed at the end of this turn as well. And that's what slipped my mind at this point, because in my head, when I'm playing the Sentinel, the weapon swings into the Sentinel, he keeps 5 rune chants, which is a lot for next turn. Sure, I will do nothing on my next turn as well, so I'm basically giving him a free turn with 5 rune chants, and in my head, that wasn't worth it, playing the Arclight Sentinel. I much rather prefer to keep it for another turn, but on hindsight, it was a really, really good play to play the Sentinel here, because we force all of the damage as well as the break of the armor, and the boots will get destroyed as well because he won't be dealing any arcane damage this turn, right? Unless he dealt some arcane damage with the strike, because I don't really remember right now. But it was good to play the Sentinel now, so that's what I want to emphasize. Don't be afraid to take your time and hold your opponents on playing cards, especially when you have a Sentinel waiting, so any response is really crucial. But it's too late now. He activated his Rosetta. I didn't stop him before, and it probably didn't even cross my mind at that time as well that I should have played the Sentinel. So yeah, we're talking about that the +1 from the off is applied to the Rosetta as well. So I'm trying to maneuver it the best I can. So I'm pitching 2 to prevent 2 arcane. Yep, there we go. So I'm at 6. I'm keeping both of my auras on the field, and I'm having a 16 damage turn, which is pretty good. And I still have my LS in my arsenal. So if I'm able to push both of those, and then uh, keep my turn with the LS, maybe he draws a dot hand as well. He's on 4 cards instead of 5, so there's a possibility. And I'm also probably looking to be destroying his boots, with preventing the arcane damage from the previous turn, on his next turn, I mean. Yep, so he knows he won't be able to keep it up. He's blocking 7, so that tells me he doesn't have a breaker, and possibly a red hand, because he blocked with two red cards. So swing 1, and then swing 7, which is a pretty good swing turn. He probably take the 7, then swing with the Rosetta and Arsenal. Yep, there we go. Take the 7. I will charge up my soul. And there we go. The boots will get destroyed, that's fine. I draw my hand, which is pretty nice. I'm thinking if I'm able to do some shenanigans there, but probably not. So there we go, that's another red card swinging into my haze bending. So I'm guessing the last card in his hand is red as well. Arsenaling it. I'm thinking about playing Sentinel here, but it's not that good. So I'm thinking what to do here. The issue is that I'm not able to pitch 6 to play my out, create a spectral, and then swing with the Tunic Herald as well, because I won't have go again uh, on my auras. So I can either do that, so pay 6, play out, create a spectral shield, and then swing for 6 with go again, and swing with one of the auras as well. I'm not sure what I did here. The other possible play is pitch a blue, pitch a yellow, swing with the Herald for 5 with go again, and then swing with the rest of the auras, which is possibly more damage. There we go. I'm swinging for 1, so I'm committed to the play. Remember that if you have outplayed at the reaction step, not at the resolution, because at the resolution you will miss 1 damage. So we're playing it at reactions. So he takes 1 more, swing for 1 more, swing for 1 more, and then swing for 5. And he takes it, so 6. There we go. We have some soul charge as well. We have out on the board. And he's having a 5-card hand. So right now what I'm searching for, there we go, that's Maurian Skies, and that's the point where I'm thinking about playing my ALS. What I would have liked here was 2 blues and a yellow, because when I have 2 blues and a yellow, I'm able to play the ALS, and then on my turn create a Spectral Shield and swing with 4 auras, with the odd being on the board. It's pretty good. But unfortunately there's a mismatch of colors, which I'm not able to get around. So I just let it resolve, because I'm not doing enough when I just play LS here. In my mind, I think that's a good idea to not play ALS there. I will take up my Tunic counter, block 1, block 2, and sing below, and I will exchange my soul shield because that's the card that I won't be playing this turn probably, into another yellow card, which is fine. I'm able to play Merciful, if I want to this turn, he will make a rune chant and play Revel. As we mentioned, my favorite card. This is also the turn in which I could have played the ALS after he played his Revel. Because I still had 5 in my hand, 1 floating from the Tunic, and I could have played the ALS. But the issue was that if he has a 0 attack card, or if he has uh, another Amplify, another Rune Flash, uh, I'm down to 1 HP. So that wasn't that great to pop it here. The train breaks, doesn't really matter. My mouse is acting up, but that's fine. Yeah, this goes to discard. I'm thinking already what I want to do. The Tunic will be destroyed in a second, so don't worry. There we go. So it's 10 damage coming into my face, and I'm now thinking what I want to do. So what I'm counting is how much damage I can take, and then swing back. So I will be probably blocking 2 of the arcane damage, then going down to 1 with the rest of the 6 arcane. I have still 1 floating, yeah, so this is important. The 1 floating is important because I can pitch a yellow card, prevent 3 of the arcane, and then take the 5 arcane, one of them being the Spectre Shield, so go down to 2 HP, block 3 with the Herald, and then still be able to swing with 3 auras on my turn, and still have the ALS for the next turn, and possibly do the play that I was talking about, so 2 blue cards and a yellow card to be able to just take some HP off of him. Because next turn I'm not killing him, but possibly with the ALS being out, that's a kill turn. We'll see what I decide to do. Still thinking. Let's rewind. Oh, there we go. Make decisions. So I'm preventing 3 exactly. Taking 1 and then 4 more down to 2. Okay, so the 2 rune chance, 2 arcane, and then block 3. Yep, exactly. This is the play that gives the most outs, I would think. I'm pretty sad to be pitching my Merciful when I have out on the board, but I'm thinking it won't be helpful this game. I'm not playing any Prismatic Shield this matchup, so the Merciful kill condition is also out of the way. So I'm attacking for 1 once again. No point in revealing your hand early on. Yep, block 1 on resolution. Pitch 2, create a Spectral Shield, and then swing 1/1. So I will be either taking cards from his hand if he doesn't have a good turn, which I'm happy to do, or just taking 4 of his HP since he's higher life total than I am, and he won't be able to block with his Skull Cap. My guess is that he needs something. He blocked the first one because I bluffed. That's why you don't pitch your yellow card beforehand, because he probably thought that was the only attack this turn. But it was a possibility that it was the only attack this turn, so it was good for him to block with the gloves. I am playing Prismatic Shields. I lied. I think right now I'm not playing them. I think at the time I was still trying to play them. And there we go. That's a Mordred Tide being played. I will stop it for a second. I will rewind a little bit. So he is playing his Mordred Tide. So this is a moment that I can play my my ALS from my arsenal. But the issue with that is that if he has any attack action card, which he probably has, he can do exactly what he's doing. So pitch for gloves, play a non-attack action card, play an attack action card, and just kill me with arcane damage through ALS. So I will probably not be choosing to do that. He's making 2 run chance. Yeah, out the gloves, still having 1 floating. And then E-Strike with the run chance for, I'm guessing, 7. Because that's the only reasonable choice here. So now I'm counting what I can do. The best would be to keep 1 card in hand. 1 yellow card in hand. I don't know if it's possible this turn. So we'll see. So we can prevent 2 of that. Yeah, that wouldn't work out. I think it actually does work out. So I can pitch Shimmers, prevent 1 of the arcane. Oh yeah, or prevent both of the arcane, that's also fine. And then pitch the prismatic shield and play soul shield, yep. And take 1 of the shields. There we go. So we preserve our HP total. We build our soul, and we keep a yellow card in hand, which is the best possible outcome. I would have liked to preserve the Spectral Shield as well, but that's okay. The unfortunate thing that is that we will be allowing him 1 block with the Skull Cap. So there was a point to be made to possibly let that 1 damage slip to just invalidate his Skull Cap and just take 1 card from his hand. But there we go. That's the turn that I was talking about. So we have, yep, 3 blues. So I see Marine Skies. I play my ALS. Snap play it. And I play it also because I have a spare blue card and a spare yellow card. So a spare blue card allows me to prevent any arcane damage that would be dealt to me, possible lethal damage. And in case, yeah, there we go. So he doesn't even, he should be creating a run chant here. I think I tell him that. Because he pitched a blue card, yep, exactly. If he had some arcane damage generation, run chant generation, I could have just prevented it with the blue card, and in the worst case with the yellow card. But I saw he didn't have it, so and that's pretty much game from this point on. Depending also on the next draw, if I draw a yellow card, which cannot happen, I cannot draw it as well. We'll see. I also end with Shimmers onto the board, which is pretty good. So yeah, he probably doesn't have a 0 cost in his arsenal, so he will be just passing. And there we go. I have a yellow card. I instantly show it to him. I have a million ways to kill him, but we decided to show it off. So swing for 1 on resolution. Pitch to create a Spectral Shield. Swing for 1. Swing for 1. Swing for 1. Swing for 1. Oh no, not even. Create 3 Spectral Shields just for the BM. And swing for 1. The first swing should be for 2, but it didn't really matter in this case. So overall, 2-1 for me. The Prism won. The third match was really tight. The Arclight Sentinel that was arsenaled in turn 1 and played on the second to last turn was the main thing that won me the game. So that turned out pretty funny how I had multiple occasions. I think the best occasion to play it was when the chest was broken. That prevented a lot of damage. But overall, it turned out fine. I just need to be more aware of that, of the opponent's cards, resources, and stuff like that. The Viserai matchup is hard. It's considerably easier now without the Scalera, because there will be no line like a Rune Flash with a non-attack with a Rune Flash or a Gloom Veil with a Revel, Sonata, Scalera, and stuff like that. Because oftentimes you would just die to that if the Viserai had like Mordred into Swarming Gloom Veil, into Revel, Scalera into Sonata. That was basically game, depending on what they hit, but it was pretty much over at that point. And this time around, we have a lot, as Prism, we have a lot of more freedom. We have more health buffer than we had before because there are no big Sonata turns. Runic Locomotion is still a very good card against us, so that's that. The power 3 of Viserai, so Gloomveil, Mordred Tide, and Marvion Skies. Those are really important in this matchup. We oftentimes count them to be able to know how much damage the Viserai player can do to us. Um, the Prism side of the matchup is pretty straightforward. If you can build your board, if not, push damage with Heralds. Know when to block, know when to pitch for Arcane. Be aware of Rattlebones and of Meet and Greets, because those are the things that get enabled by Arcane damage, as well as Dread Triptych, but not to that extent. So be aware of those, and also be aware of Boots, that they can do bad stuff with those. So you have 2 auras on board, and they attack with a Go Again card. So example, a Swarming Gloomveil, they can play non-attack action on instant, gain 2 action points and destroy both your auras. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that it can happen. If you have Shimmers on board, don't put the counters on the Spectral Shields. As I mentioned in game 2, it's not worth it to do so. I'm not playing the Pierces. I much rather cut on the blue cards and put in some heralds like Judgment, for example, which is not played in a lot of other matchups, but it has some niche uses in this matchup. And I prefer the Passing Mirage over the Pierce of Reality. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. The Prism one, the better deck one, the better player one, of course. I'm just kidding. Me with Lemur are also coming to the Pro Tour. So if you're coming there as well to New Jersey, we'll see you guys there, and thank you for watching. Bye.